Good morning, problem solvers. It is Wednesday, May 13th, and we are looking at area and perimeter today. So remember, area is the area inside, and a figure, like if you were rolling around on the carpet, and the perimeter is like a fence if you were walking around the carpet. So today our learning targets are to find the area and perimeter of a rectangle or a rectangular figure, find the unknown side lengths when given the area or the perimeter, and solve word problems involving area and perimeter. So that's your review exercises today. And so let's look at this first rectangle. And things we know about rectangles is rectangles have equal sides. So when you see a rectangular figure, you'll know that once we count one side, we know that that's what's on the other. So our first question says, what part of the rectangle is its perimeter? Now remember, perimeter is if we walked around the rectangle. So we're going to count not how many dots, but how many sections that we have between here. So that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. In this case, they didn't tell us what the units are, so we could maybe guess centimeters. And then this is 1, 2. So there's 2 there. Then we know that there's 9 over here and 2 over here. So to figure out a perimeter, we would say 9 plus 9 plus 2 plus 2. Or you could say 2 times 9 plus 2 times 2. Either ways will work for you. So if we think about, so we have 9 plus 9, that's 18. Another 2 is 20. Another 2 is 22. I could count all the way around as well, and that should give me the same idea. So, and I don't, since I don't know if they're inches or not, I can't really label. I could just say units because I don't know what kind of units they are, if they're really centimeters or not. Next question says, what part of the rectangle is its area? The area is the inside, so that's the space if I rolled around in the carpet. Okay, so the area, the space inside the sides, the figure. Okay, that is the area. So when we're finding it, but we found the perimeter, but I talked about it, so that answer actually goes here, but you guys aren't writing on pieces of paper anyway. In fact, you really should have a piece of scratch paper. If you don't, you should go get one so that you can help me do some of these problems. Okay, I'll assume you have some paper. All right, so now we're going to find the area. So these are the square units. So it says draw the unit squares to help. So square units. So we're going to make in a different color here. I'm going to use my pink. So I'm going to draw the lines that go here. And I'm going to show them. I'm going to make one big one here. So here are now my square units. I can see them. And I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 9 there. So I have 9. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 again. 9 plus 9 equals 18. And then remember how we wrote square? And then we're going to write units because we don't know what those, if it's square feet, square inches, square centimeters. I'm not really sure. So you'll notice that in this case, the perimeter is larger than its area. This one was 22 and this one is 18. So remember that sometimes the perimeter could be equal to sometimes to the area. It just depends on the sides. So here we have some unknown side lengths. That's one of the things we have to be able to do is if we know some information, how do you figure out the missing information? So this one has to do with area. So an area we know, just like we did here, 9 times, we added 9 plus 9, but we also could multiply 9 times 2, also equals 18. So area, when we're using area, we know that it's length times width equals area. So when you have a length times a width, we know that it's the space inside. Okay, 9 times 2 equaled 18. All right, so if that's the case, then if we know the area is the 72, the inside of this is the 72. Looks a lot like an array, doesn't it? Usually when we have an array, we have some multiplication, the answer is in the middle, and then the two things that are multiplied to get that area are on the outside. So if we know, we know 8 times something equals 72. 8 times something equals 72. Well, another way to write that would be 72 divided by 8 equals, and then that'll give us the missing side. So hopefully you still remember your multiplication. 72 divided by 8. So what times 8 equals 72? It is 9. Hopefully you thought of that. 9, and because it does give us what the unit is, we can say centimeters. So this 9 centimeters would be right there. Okay, so here's another one. So this one, they give us the perimeter. So perimeter, we know it's length plus width plus width. That's what we did up here. Length plus width plus width. All right, so that's how we get the perimeter. And so if we have perimeter as in 38, and we know that one side equals 12, so that length is 12. So we know 12 plus 12 plus W equals, and we know it equals 38. So we can add the 12 plus 12 because we know those, and we can get 24. So if we know this side plus this side equals 24, then whatever's left to equal that 38, these two sides have to equal whatever's left. So we say 38 minus 24, that gives us 14. So if we have 14, that can't be 14 on one side because then it'd be 12 plus 14 plus 12 plus 14. That's too much. So we know that we need to take that 14 and actually divide it amongst the two sides. We have to divide it in half, divide it by 2. That gives us 7. And we do have the units, so that's 7 centimeters is this side right here. And we can add that up again to make sure it makes sense. 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 7 is 31, plus another 7 is 38. So when you have these kind of problems, you have to look, is it perimeter or is it area? And you have to think about, is that the area, is that the space around, like perimeter, or is that the space in, like area? If it is area, it's length times width. If it's perimeter, it's all the sides added together. All right, so let's look on this next page. Let's see if we can figure out the perimeter and area of these ones. It said rectangular structures, so they're not all necessarily rectangle. All right, so here we go. So we're looking for perimeter. That's the around side, around the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That one has 12, and the area is that place on the inside. So we make our lines. You'll see the little boxes. Those are squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 square units. All right, now let's look at this one. Here, perimeter. So we're doing the outside. I'm going to do that in pink again, the outside. So I'm going to start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 units. Now we're going to look on the inside for those squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 units. Big differences between those two. The perimeters are much longer because it goes all the way around in the inside space. All right, let's do a couple real quickly of solving some word problems involving area and perimeter, and then you can go work on Think Central. So Alexander and his grandfather are tiling their rectangular kitchen floor. They need to use 42 tiles. They are making rows of 7. How many rows do they make? So we're going to draw a rectangle because we know problem solvers draw pictures to help them understand the problem. So we need to know that they need to use 42 tiles. So they're going to have 42. So I'm going to put the 42 on the inside because that's area. If they're putting tiles down, that's going to be something you stand on. So you could roll around on the inside. That's what tiles are. It says they're making rows of 7 tiles. Okay, so there's your 7. So what we're doing is we're looking for how many rows do they make. All right, so if we know that this is an area problem, it's the space inside, and we say 42, and we know that when we're doing that, it's length times width equals area. So length, so it's going to be 7 times something equals 42. So we know that we need to use division to find out what that number is, right? So we have 42 divided by 7 equals, and now I have to use my multiplication skills and know that, okay, 42 divided by 7, and think about what it is. Gonna make a guess? All right, it's 6. 6, and it says how many rows? 6 rows. Now we see if that makes sense. 6 times 7 equals 42. That makes sense. And then that'd be 42 tiles. I could draw them if I wanted to, but I'm not going to waste your time there. All right, last one. Tilly and her mom made a rectangular dog run. Okay. They used 12 one-yard pieces of fencing. They put 2 pieces of fencing on one side. How many pieces did they put on the next side? So we know here we have to have 12 pieces on the outside. These are fence, so this isn't the same here as area, it's perimeter. So it says they put 2 pieces of fencing on one side. So there's 2. So then it's a rectangle, so then this needs to be 2. And now we need to know, how are we going to figure out what these 2 sides are? Well, if there's 12 pieces of fencing, and we know that we have 2 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's minus 4, it leaves us with 8. Great, now we have 8 pieces, but we have to divide those by both sides. So this is going to be 4, and this is going to be 4. We're going to divide that into 2 sections. Now let's make sure that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 1 yard long pieces of fencing. Put 2 pieces on one side. How many pieces did they put on the next side? There you go. All right, so again, making sense of the problem. So how many pieces did they put on the next side? 4 pieces. Again, for perimeter, remember if you know the length around the side and you know one of the sides, you just can put that same measurement on the other side. Then you add those together and subtract to see what you have left over for the other 2 sides. All right, go to Think Central and work on our area and perimeter, my friends.